enabling once again the CPM to maintain itself illegal and illegitimately in power. The forum is a long but not exhaustive list of illegal acts by elected officials whose political objective is to disturb the result of the forthcoming election to the benefit of the CPN and which undisputedly establishes the electoral impact in no inlet of the imagination. One, the tradition of more than half of Cameroonian potential voters from exercising their fundamental right as citizens through the deliberate freezing of the the freezing of the electorate at around 7 million voters for more than 10 years, despite the growth of Cameroonian population from 20 million in 2012 when elected announced that the electorate was 7 million and 60,000 registered voters. Around 30 million Cameroonians in 2024 when the same election announced that at the end of the first quarter of 2024, the figure was 7,144,000 registered voters. Two, preemptive announcement by the Director General of Electoral, Mr. Exis, that the extraordinary mobilization of Cameroonians who are massively registered on the electoral register in full use of everyone went to futile. That is not change the election because after grooming out of, for instance, 200,000 new registered voters, there will only be 50,000 left. Three, continued violation of Article 80 of the Electoral Code, which requires the Director of Electoral to publish the National Electoral List by the end of December each year and let this publication effectively guarantees the correct grooming of the electorate, the correction of error, and allows those whose name do not appear on the list to make the necessary complaints. Four, Electoral has multiplied various administrative and logistical objectives aimed at discouraging the mass registration of Cameroonians on the electoral roll, such as the unlimited or flexibility of registration kits, even though the state allocates a substantial budget every year. And even though the Director General of Electoral has announced for several months that the new generation kits have been imported and are waiting in custom and before. Five, registration without using a receipt to people registered on the electoral and on the electoral list in total violation of the law, thus creating a pool of unknown registrants on whose behalf members of the CPN or people recruited by this party can vote in their favor. Six, at the end of April 2024, electors has still not opened the registration of voters in the diaspora. That is 4 months after the legal deadline, which set the start of the registration on 1st January of each year. And that registration had start then began at the beginning of May, but interrupted due to repeal and disturbance of elections. This is the case in Switzerland, where the ambassador ordered the suspension of registration in a communicated with April 2024, pending the return of these chiefs by later, or in Great Britain, where talking at liberties with the truth. The ambassador in the communique dated 18 April 2024 claimed that registration on the electoral roll had begun on 1st January 2024 in accordance with the law, but that due to the malfunctioning of the electoral registration was interrupted in the course because in the course of the process. Why do we want to deprive Cameroonians with the right to participate in choosing the leaders of their own land? Who is afraid of Cameroonians abroad? Undoubtedly, the same people who, through their calamitious management of the country, are pushing most of them to immigrate and hoping that they will never return. But this will not happen. 7. Requirement by Electoral within the diaspora to present in addition to the consular card, which is the only legal document required, or the document in violation of Article 2074 of the Electoral Code and Article 6 of the Decree of 8 October 2011 on the organization of the vote of Cameroonians abroad. 8. Non-compliance with the law on the distribution of the number of seats of the MPs by electoral constituency based on the result of the 2005 population census published on 14 April 2010 for the legislative election. 9. Refusal to register Cameroonians in pre-trial detention or convicted but whose sentence has not yet become final in violation of the presumption of innocence. 10. One is the Desta Mohammed, known as Kosovo, village chief and civilian militant, was caught in the act of electoral card fraud with the presence of electoral and police officers in charge of producing national identity cards observed by the population and the media on 25 April 2024 in Amsterdam, in Long Division, Western Division. After I have demonstrated with figures to back this up in my end of year message for 2022 and at the close of our party's convention, the scandalous manipulation of registration figures to the advance of the CPJ immediately as if magic, the number of registered voters published on 27 March by Electoral for the period of from January to March 2024 took a spectacular leap forward, except that this magically far from clear electoral of accusation of collusion with the CPDM regime in the plot against electoral democracy. This credited it once for all. In fact, I was denouncing that in more than 10 years, I was denouncing the fact that in more than 10 years, from January 2012 to 21st of December 2022, and during the year 2023, the campaign to have been able to register only 28,000 people per year. Held in their pride, elections leaders decided to increase voters registration between January and March to around 50,000 new voters per month. This figure is still far below reality, given the huge popular mobilization for voter registration that any objective observer can attest across the country since January of this year. in the literal. For example, according to Electoral's own statistical data, Electoral's objective for 2024 is to register 132,684 new voters. However, as of 1st May 2024, that is at the halfway point, after 4 months out of 8 months that registration takes, Electoral had already registered 87.072 new voters, which means that it has already achieved 65.63% of its objectives for 2024 in the Electoral. And yet, the registration dynamic is rising in the Electoral and in the rest of the country. We therefore expect Electoral not only to achieve 100% of its objective for 2024, but at least to double those objectives. The expectation for the electorate is at least 12 million registered voters by 21st August 2024. In addition to manipulating the number of Cameroonians on the electoral roll and refusing to publish the national electoral roll as required by the law, Electoral is plotting against our nation to direct complicity with the CPDM, the government of the Republic, and a number of political actors. In a style of his own, the Minister of Electoral Administration, in defiance of the Constitution, Article 3 of which states that both political parties and groups shall help the electorate in the making of voting decisions. End of quote. And second, on 2nd May 2024, he openly threatened unquote raw politicians against any attempt to perniciously manipulate public opinion with the view to disturbing public order. He then revealed that he had instructed the administrative authority to no longer tolerate registration made by unquote certain politicians in search of the notorious. According to Section 4 of the Electoral Code, elections Cameroon shall be an independent body responsible for the organization, management, and supervision of all elections and referendum operations. As a result of this provision, elections Cameroon shall have legal personality and management autonomy. So, where does it come from that the Minister of Electoral Administration, the CPM minister, receives in his office without the members of the Electoral Commission, the President of the Electoral Council, and the Director General of Electoral, all of whom are CPM for a consultation on the progress of voter registration with a view to forthcoming electoral elections in our country. Or more can Electoral, the supposedly independent electoral body with management autonomy conferred by law, submit the electoral process for which it is legally responsible to the Minister of Electoral Administration, who is an actor in the electoral system. in the same way as the political parties, to the point that the left takes the liberty to declaring in the press release that because he noted with satisfaction that the electoral process was proceeding normally. And that electoral regular consult, that electoral board, that electoral board regular consultation with all the actors in the electoral process. This is yet another serious violation of the electoral law by Mr. Director General and Mr. Eno Abrams, Edwin, the President of Electoral Council. While the law guarantees the independence of the electoral body in order to protect it from any such, curiously, it is its main leaders who are organizing its submission, its subservience to the CPDS government. This is the serious fault that was the sanctioned both by the Electoral Council and the government. The Director General of Electoral and the President of the Electoral Council have betrayed their oath. They must resign or be dismissed to preserve what shred of credibility Electoral still has. In perfect synchronization with the Minister of Electoral Administration, in the same day of 2nd of May 2024, the CPDM mayor of Yaoundé 7, Mr. Augustin Kamto, used threat and violence to force electoral staff, Cameroonians who had come to register to vote in his municipality, and CRM volunteers who were invited people to register to leave in flagrant violation of the provisions of the Constitution relating to the right of all citizens to stay anywhere and the freedom of movement. Mayor Augustin Cameroon, who in any case does not have the power of judicial police office, demanded that citizens present in front of the legal council provide a curious document prior to any registration, which we call a resident card. To illegally demand such a document from citizens in their own is enough to demonstrate the display of the current regime and its tribalism excesses, which breached climax in 2018 and from which the government is still suffering respect. How long will we continue to live with and put up with these unacceptable excesses? How long will we continue to live with and put up with these unacceptable excesses? In the wake of the government and the CPN, others are ostensibly campaigning against voter registration and believe that the elections are a waste of time. All these serious acts show that within the regime are hunting by the prospect of the defeat of the CPN and its allies in 2025, giving them catastrophic recourse, and above all, the awakening of the Cameroonian people, and do not want the election scheduled for next year to be held in our country. In fact, they appear to be implicit supporters of those who are publicly calling for a military coup d'etat to prevent the Cameroonian people's desire to change or be perceptible in the massive voter registration from being fulfilled in 2025 by the CIA. Here is a self-proclaimed steamroller, political party that is trying that is trying by every means possible to evade the election, confirming the fact that it is nothing more than an empty shell. Here is a self-assumed dictatorial regime that proclaims itself to be democratic, claims to be clever, and has been reduced to thinking that its survival depends on military regard, which it is certainly to be a perfectly acceptable option in its eye. And now, I'm now going to say some few words on that issue of call for military regard in Cameroon. Several public statements by civilian dignitaries and official representatives and by several opposition political actors suggest that in addition to the electoral on the way, individuals and organizations are also preparing a military regard in Cameroon. During the Dual Reform program in Electoral television on Sunday, 3rd September 2023, the CPDM representative, to the surprise of the other panelists, called for a military regard in Cameroon if the CRS Cameroon Religion Movement Thursday won the next presidential election. On 4th September 2022, one day after this serious public outburst, another CPDM official published similar remarks on his Facebook account. He declared, quote, in the event that by some miracle the CRM should win the presidential election in this country, there is bound to be a coup d'etat. The army will never accept having as his commander in chief a leader of the party that has been calling his name for several years. The truth is that the only condition for the coup d'etat in Cameroon is for the CRM Cameroon Religion Movement to win the presidential election. The army will never agree to submit to a party that has literally called it a Guru militia, a Karens militia, and a bigger countries. On 5th September, the same CPDM officials published the following message in the paper on his Facebook page. Quote, the UPC, the PCI, the A, and others have never disrupted the army of this country. If one of these parties wins the presidential election one day, the army will put itself at the service of its leader. On the other hand, if it is the CRM, Cameroon Religious Movement, or party that has invested the president of the CRM, that means there will automatically be a coup d'etat. End of quote. No public prosecutor found that these public calls for a stupefying coup d'etat constituted any threat to peace. The CIA has lodged a complaint against those individuals, but today, justice is taking its time. The day after our our party's convention, and thus the declaration of my candidacy for 2025 presidential election, supported by the Political Alliance for Change (PAC), another coalition, the Alliance for Political Transition (ATP), burst into the media scene with the main objective not of defeating the future CPDM presidential candidate, but rather of opposing the CRM and the PAC. Most of this original coalition is opposed to the holding of elections, preferring the establishment of a transitional government led by the CPD. According to some political actors of that APT, I quote, the part of the PPP, political transition has become indispensable in an inevitable in Cameroon. The question now is the nature of the transition, military or civilian. You can see the scenario from here. Sensing the very electoral technology, they want to take the shortcut of a military coup d'etat to organize a political transition, then restore the regime rejected by the Cameroonians who gave the CPN a chance for over 20 years. And here we go again, another 50 years of the CPN regime, the regime of loss, tribal division, fratricidal wars, and national debate. The government's silence in the face of all these serious facts is astonishing. It is so quick to violently repress imaginary threats to public order and state security arbitrarily attributed to the leaders and militants of our party, and even to have the sentence to heavy prison terms. I solemnly warn those who, realizing that the political rupture with the Cameroonian people is complete, are fomenting this belief. This is a bad scenario whose actors are not familiar with the deep history of Cameroon, nor do they take into account the current state of the country and the world around. The Cameroonian people will not tolerate such travesty. You have to be a stupid dreamer or blind arrogant to believe that you could open the Pandora box in Cameroon and nothing will come out of it. If you keep throwing devil in the world, it will eventually appear. If you crack the match in a gas compound or settlement, then nobody will escape. Not expect you can escape. We all will die in flesh. This is why I say to any soldier who might be tempted by such an adventure that they should quickly give up. They should quickly give it up because Cameroonians are deeply attached to peace. They are so not only because of their political history, marked by hunting tribes, but also in view of this very heavy human and material toll that we deplore in the pointless civil war that some have waged in the English-speaking regions of the country. This in no way means that they are incapable of indignation and anger. Above all, we must avoid pushing them to the limit and putting their back against the wall. No one will say that we have not done our duty as patriotic watchdog of the Republic. The Director General of Electoral and the members of the Electoral Council, as well as those who refusing to choose their leaders peacefully and through the ballot box, publicly called on the military to perpetrate a military coup d'etat in the event of the victory of the CRM and the political alliance for change in the forthcoming election, risk plunging our country into a cycle of violence that no one wants and whose duration and lasting consequences no one can predict. There is an urgent need to stop any action aimed at fighting the forthcoming election before it is too late. A recently published survey revealed that 87% of young Cameroonians are seeking to flee their country for lack of prospects. What's more, the National Statistics Institute has just revealed that 10 million Cameroonians live on less than 1,000 CFA per day, that only 58% of Cameroon households have electricity, mostly in urban areas, because in rural areas, the percentage may amount to 80% or 70 to 80%. The state's insolvency, orchestrated by looser of the public purse, has ruined many small businesses and even some big companies. Thousands of pensioners have no access to their pensions several years after they have retired. Teachers and medical staff devastated by inhuman working conditions and humiliated and scorned by the regime are fleeing the country en masse, and the high cost of living is raging in households whose purchasing power has been totally eroded. Militants from several opposition political parties are finding it hard to conceal their frustration and anger at the obstacle placed in the way of their political activities in the field by the Minister of the Electoral Administration and its collaborators of at the prefectural level. For example, the relevant division officers in the fact of more specifically in Mali have, on the instruction of the Arab, banned the CRM Cameroon movement from organizing ceremonies in store the head of our party in the region. Was the same situation in the south. But we know that it is the so-called elite, civilian elite, the so-called civilian elite of the region, of those who are panicking, no doubt the same people who burnt our party's material in Myanmar in 2018, T-shirt, cap, states, I can get them that we no longer stand by and watch such barbarity and gloriously village barbarism happen again. Let them not doubt for a second. In view of the above, the economic community of Central Africa, the African Union, the United Nations, Cameroon partner countries that claim to be friends of Cameroonian people must act now to help our country avoid sinking into the violence being prepared by the regime's extremists and their allies in the opposition and civil society. In view of the above, I reiterate that all the international parties that claim to be friendly to our country should act now until all the protests against democracy, peace, and the republic come to their senses. I invite Cameroon to give them an exemplary political reform by registering en masse on the electoral roll. I invite them to vote en masse to block all enemies of peace by all peaceful means possible. I thank you for your attention. I now take two or three questions, not more. I'm ready to take two or three questions. And if there are not, and then we debate, okay, I'm very uh, happy to stop here. And I'm grateful that you were able to take to the end of this. We, we have done our part. It is everybody his own part to make sure that peace remains in our country and that we work for the people staying in Cameroon and security and the part of the country.
Alors, nous sommes pratiquement arrivés à la fin de cette conférence de presse avec Maurice Kamto et on va rapidement aller au résumé. La version anglaise était relativement une demi-heure pendant lequel l'opposant principal de M. Biya a parlé legislation without using people register to the Electoral is a violation. Alors, j'expliquais que le professeur Maurice Kamto s'est voulu clair sur certains sujets, donc je vous ramène. En deuxième position, il en a parlé de at the end of 2024, ELECAM has still not opened the register of Cameroonians in the diaspora. Meanwhile, the law says they are supposed to do so before the beginning of the year. And if not of some protests in the diaspora, they wouldn't have done what is required by the law. He says legislation of the ELECAM rule began on the 1st of January 2024, but interrupted in the course due to malfunction of equipment. That was Professor Maurice Kamto telling us some of the disparities that electoral practice obtain on the field. He was speaking in a press conference today at the party headquarters in Otsa, Yaoundé. He goes further to say requirement by ELECAN to present voting cards, which is the only document required. But we had representatives of the government and sometimes in decentralized units talking about the case of Yaoundé 7, for example, who was talking about resident cards. That's a document that is not known by the civil status in Cameroon. So that Mayor Tamba Auguste actually was violating the law putting, while asking that particular document. And the diaspora were asked for resident permit, something that isn't spelled in the electoral code. He went further to say that ELECAM, the president of Elections Council and the Director General of Election Cameroon have not respected the law, and they have their cognition or their connival with the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, is a huge violation against the law. He says the figure that Election Cameroon has been publishing is below what is obtained on the field. They have their expected quotas that they want to maintain by all means, despite the efforts Cameroonian and especially militant of the Cameroon Renaissance movement have embarked on, at least for the past weeks. But he says he advised his militant to double their efforts as elections Cameroon officials will be held responsible for whatever situation our country plunge in case of non-respect of the rule of the law. That's supposed to be a basic tenet for democracy. He goes further to say there has been manipulating the number of Cameroonians in voting age, going against the law, that political parties and institutions shall help the voting process. That's what the law says. But the outing of Paul Atanganji was practically against this a part of the law. He says politicians that Atanganji said politicians were warned against accompanying Cameroonians to go and register, and this was truly a blow to public opinion because to him, according to Section 4 of the Electoral Code, elections in Cameroon shall have legal and management authority confirmed by the law, and the Minister of Territorial Administration isn't one of those authorities. It goes further to say there should be no suspicion with any political body. If any, it should be sanctioned. But the CPDM, Minister Paul Atangande, who still hold a permanent position as head of a session in Nizam, actually is seen almost hand in hand with top elections officials in the country. He says, coming back to the resident card that the mayor of Yaoundé 7 said must be presented as an evidence to have a voter's card, he says that was a gross violation. He goes further to say, how long will we continue to live this injustice? He says we must put an end to this gross violation of our own law. In addition, He says to the electorate, individual TV stations should create awareness about the political state of the country, like the violation the CPDM officials are forwarding, helter skelter, and creating fear. They have uh, they have embarked into tribalistic campaign on social media, notably Facebook, and all this under the observation of judicial authorities that are supposed to take effective account of this. Say CPDM want to take the shortcut, and they choose, and we have opted to choose our leaders peacefully to avoid violence. Say, but that does not mean that we are weak. Do not think you can do any rough work and get away with it. It will always come to that. Say 80% of the country is willing to flee to the diaspora for lack of prospects. Say roughly 58% of households in Cameroon have electricity in the rural areas and up to 80% in urban areas. So there are thousands of patient teachers who are humiliated. There is high cost of living. Political parties are finding it hard to go about their activities on the field due to this obstruction set by the very government that is supposed to cater for them. He goes further to talk about tribalism and barbarism should not be encouraged but strongly condemned. Professor Maurice Kamto rounding up his 30-minute English version of this May the 10th press conference by calling on international authorities, friends of Cameroon, to act now. They shouldn't wait until the French part of the country take the turn that the Northwest and the Southwest have been undergoing for the past 6 years before they come as firefighters. I think a word to a wise is sufficient. That's how we saw it for this May the 10th press conference granted by Professor Morris Kamto, CRM National Chairman. Until we meet again, take care of yourself. Ciao. Bye bye.